Has Disney World completely lost its mind this time? We're going to tell you why things feel a little out of control around the most magical place on Earth, for better and for worse. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. This is a fun one today. Disney World never fails to keep us on our toes by surprising us with construction projects and attraction announcements and over-the-top snacks. But even when Disney World feels out of control, you can stay in control by preparing for all these different changes and challenges leading up to your next trip, which is exactly what we're going to help prep you for today. Ready to start chiseling out the details of your next Disney World trip right now? Then be sure to scan the QR code you see on the screen or head to disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyPlans if you haven't already to pick up our free Disney planning worksheets that'll help you visualize your upcoming vacation and all the details that come along with it. So we're going to start with so many hotel updates. You get an update and you get an update. Everyone gets updates. Disney World's resorts never stay stagnant. We're always seeing something new or updated or under construction happening no matter what time of year we're visiting. And it could be at any of the hotels. During your next resort visit, you might find limited time seasonal snacks pop up in the quick service bakery display cases. Transportation service changes, like how we recently saw boat service between Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness and Contemporary return after being missing for a good long while. Major construction, like what we're seeing now at Polynesian Village Resort as they continue to build their new DVC tower set to open later in 2024. Or how we're seeing all that scaffolding across Grand Floridian as they continue to update, well, everything, rooms, walkways, and the lobby too. And pool closures, like you're going to see for the first few months of next year at Doubloon Lagoon in Port Orleans French Quarter and Fuentes del Morro Pool at Caribbean Beach. Disney does a good job listing any construction updates and closure notices on their website well in advance so you can plan around these renovations as you see fit. For example, the ever so glorious Stormalong Bay feature pool over at Yacht and Beach Club already has its renovation schedule listed on the main pages of these resorts for its January 2025 to May 2025 downtime, because Disney knows Stormalong Bay is the real reason why your kids want to stay at either of these hotels, unless you have a future yacht owner in your family. Then please excuse me for my assumptions. But y'all know I am very, very worried that you're going to go stay at Yacht and Beach Club between January and May of 2025 and be at a loss because that pool will be down for the count. So I'm going to keep reminding you. Now, that being said, we here at DFB also keep track of all the updates and changes going on across the resort. So if you're looking for the most recent updates from Disney World's hotels, check out our What's New at Disney World Hotels page on the DFB site, which we update every single day. I'll go ahead and link it for you down in the description. All right, this is a big one. Back in September during Destination D23, we started to learn about Dinoland USA's future in Animal Kingdom. And from what it sounds like, this is the beginning of the end for poor Route 498. Disney announced that Dinoland USA will be closing to make way for new lands. Specifically, the area will be updated to become the Tropical Americas, potentially, which will feature attractions and details from Encanto and Indiana Jones. Now, again, this is all blue sky. This is all speculation. We don't know for sure that that's what's coming into Dinoland, but it seems to be something that they're definitely strongly considering. Work is actually already being done on the casitas from Encanto to bring them to life inside this up-and-coming land, potentially. And with the addition of Indiana Jones, we're guessing this means our friend Indy will be taking Dr. Seeker's place over at Dinosaur, since the dinosaur ride system is very similar to the Indiana Jones ride that already exists in Disneyland. Now, Disney said that there's still a long way to go with these ideas, but that the Imagineering team in Florida is up for the challenge. Now, the Indiana Jones switcheroo I could have more so predicted, even though I've got a lot of love for Dinosaur and I'm definitely not going to stop quoting "we're not going to make it," even after it goes away. But the Encanto area took us a bit off guard, simply because during the D23 convention in Anaheim back in 2022, it was mentioned that Encanto could be possibly over in Magic Kingdom instead. Meanwhile, there was discussion of Animal Kingdom getting a potential Moana or Zootopia land instead. But even though the Encanto announcement shocked us, the Tropical Americas concept definitely helped us connect the dots a little bit better. Disney explained that Imagineers are taking inspiration from some of the most biodiverse areas on the planet in the regions just north and south of the equator here in the Western Hemisphere, including the northern part of South America, stretching up into Central America, which should help it blend in seamlessly with the other areas around the park. Now, as much as I enjoy the kitschiness of Dinoland amusement park theming, and I'm going to be sad to see it go, it is pretty exciting to also think about the Madrigal House coming to life in all its colorful, magical glory. story. But I have always been and I always will be a proponent of Dinoland. I'm a big fan of that place. But don't worry, the Zootopia ideas aren't exactly out the window here. In another shocking turn of events, it seems that It's Tough to Be a Bug, which currently resides inside the Tree of Life, could also be replaced by a potential Zootopia experience, which will take guests through the different biomes you only get glimpses of during the movie. You'll also be able to travel alongside Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde and other lovable Zootopia characters. And based on the concept art, this new show could also include a potential Clawhauser animatronic that might replace the current Hopper animatronic, which is more than fine with me because I've never had the guts to look at that Hopper animatronic in the eye anyways. Of course, let me give this caveat once again. Nothing is set in stone with these changes just yet. Anything can happen, and more updates are bound to be on the horizon leading up to if and when these changes do take place. But in the meantime, Dinoland and It's Tough to Be a Bug aren't going away just yet, but if you want to experience them in their OG form, now is the time. Alright, so remember the days when you'd have to book your Disney World vacation at just the right time to make sure you hit it during an Epcot festival? Yeah, that's not really a problem anymore, and it hasn't been a problem ever since the 2020 closures. Epcot has 4 festivals that they put on each year: Festival of the Arts, which of course we call Farts around here, Flower and Garden, Food and Wine, and Festival of the Holidays. By the way, that Farts thing is not derogatory. I absolutely love Festival of the Arts. Now, before 2020, each of these festivals only ran for a couple of months, so if you were visiting Epcot in the middle of the summer, there was a good chance there wouldn't be any festivals going on during your visit. But once the closures happened, starting March 2020, which cut the Flower and Garden Festival short, it's almost like Epcot decided it needed to make up for lost time once it reopened. On July 15th, 2020, Epcot announced that Food and Wine would be returning, but this time it was going to last until November 22nd, which was double the amount of food and wine we'd been used to. And yet, with the Food and Wine return came some rather interesting changes that have stuck around these past few years, which we haven't been super keen on, like how the culinary classes and beverage demonstrations just disappeared, and how not every food booth is released right when Food and Wine kicks off. Instead, more food booths are integrated into the festival little by little to reignite interest in it again during Epcot's slower travel season. While Festival of the Arts and Festival of the Holidays have continued to keep their fests pretty brief, Flower and Garden jumped up on the extended festival bandwagon and started running for months on end as well, usually from the start of March up until the beginning of July. So nowadays, it's a rarity that you'll visit Epcot without some sort of festival going on. It's not impossible, there's usually like a week between them, but it's less likely. With that being said, who knows? Festival schedules could be completely different in 2024. We already know festivals are going to look super different next year, regardless of what their timeframes are going to be, thanks to the Communicore Plaza area getting ready to open up by the end of 2023. Communicore Plaza will become a designated festival area that'll house the Communicore Hall building, aka the first ever Epcot building, whose sole purpose is to house Epcot programming and festival programming, like chef demonstrations and artist showcases and live music. So it sounds like Food and Wine is well on its way to having their culinary seminars return for 2024. Not that Disney's announced that or confirmed it, but I hope that's what they're going to do in there. Now, we'll let you know more once we hear about an official opening date for these massive World Celebration changes. For now, if you want to get hyped up for the future of Epcot's festivals, be sure to take a look at our festival-inspired tees over at dfbstore.com. These tees can be customized by style and size and color to make sure they're the perfect fit for the specific vibe you're going for. Also, if you want to read about the festivals instead of wear them, you can find our festival books over at dfbstore.com as well. Those are guides about each of the festivals. I think you'll really like them. Now, when it comes to dates for World Celebration updates, we do know that the new fireworks show is opening in Epcot on December 5th. Now, usually they like to do a bunch of stuff together at once, so it wouldn't surprise me if that was around the same time that they did open the rest of that stuff, but we'll see. It still looks like a construction zone in there. So how about all this reservation stress, right? Securing Disney reservations and discounts and requests isn't all fun and no stress. Demand for these things, whatever they might be, can get incredibly high, leading to confusion and frustration and lots of waiting in line. Now, this is not what you want when you're spending like 3 mortgage payments on a trip to Disney World. So without further ado, let's talk about why the Disney phone lines have quickly become an Achilles heel for the company. Disney's phone lines can get so congested that we've literally had to publish posts on our site before titled "The Secret Tips for Getting Disney World to Answer the Phone," because oh my gosh, sometimes it feels like you're going to be stuck listening to that crackling on-hold soundtrack forever. When Park Pass reservations first entered the scene, just to book your spot in the parks, it took hours, literal hours for your call to go through. Sometimes it even just hang up on you, which I don't have to tell you how frustrating that can be, especially when you've been waiting for hours. And then when your call would go through, you'd be on hold for more hours. This was absolutely atrocious. Even now, calling to lock in a new discount or purchase an annual pass or secure tickets to a super popular special event or even snag advanced dining reservations over the phone becomes an all-day endeavor. Now, my key advice for you here is to not book these things over the phone and to stick with the online My Disney Experience app method instead. However, sometimes these phone calls cannot be avoided, especially if you're having trouble getting a certain discount applied or you're trying to place a special request for something and need to talk to a real live human to get it added to your file. To try to cut down on being placed on hold for hours and hours and hours, it's best to know which department specifically you need to talk to. While Disney does have a general number you can contact, this number will more than likely transfer you to the cast members who you actually need to talk with, which could put you at the back of the call line all over again. To skip this extra step, you can call the direct line for the department you need to get in contact with. We've got a full list of all the specific Disney departments that you can potentially reach out to, which I'll go ahead and link in the description. But here are just a few of the most important numbers you'll want to take note of. You can pause the video now if there are any you need to write down. Again, this is only a few of the numbers you can call to skip over Disney's general number, but when it comes to hotel questions, I will say that each resort does have its own specific number too, which could help you cut down on your on-hold wait even more. Now, I know I hype up my friends over at Small World Vacations all the time, but this is exactly why I do it, because these experienced travel agents will go into the trenches for you instead of you having to do this phone tag yourself. Small World Vacation agents not only set you up for success for whatever Disney vacation you want to plan, but they make sure your specific requests are heard and new discounts are applied, and they do it all without charging you an extra dime for their services. I'm getting really good at adding links down in the video description, but I'm gonna do it again just in case you want to reach out for a free quote from them. Now, this one will mess you up, y'all. You thought the parks closed when? Psych! Seems like hours for everything have changed again. Hours for the Disney parks and restaurants and shows are posted on the Disney World website months in advance, but that doesn't mean they aren't subject to change, even on the day of your visit. Sometimes parks may have to close early for weather-related purposes or special events, or sometimes they add an extra hour onto the day just to catch up with the park demand. Sometimes select park restaurants stay open all day long or even longer, while others can close as early as 3 p.m. after the lunch rush. And then there are times when we see live entertainment happening at multiple times during the day or evening, but when the demand is a little less, they could pull back to just a single performance each day. The moral here, while it's good to check the Disney World park hours and events calendar online ahead of your trip to start planning, it's also important to check on the updated hours of the day of your trip via the My Disney Experience app, just in case schedules had to change for whatever reason. It happens all the time. Okay, listen, I am all for new snacks and new flavors, but every now and then, and especially within these last couple of years, Disney World has been giving us snacks that make us kind of go, okay, this was a choice. Let's take a look at a few out there examples, shall we? Like the pickle milkshake, for instance, from this year's Food and Wine Festival makes us question everything. Granted, it was concocted by Professor Honeydew and his assistant Beaker over in the Muppets lab, so we'll give this one a free pass for its ultra weirdness. But we did try it, and yes, it does taste like pickle ice cream, so we're still not sure quite how to feel about this one. However, I do know how to feel about the Squid's Revenge cocktail that was offered over at Be Our Guest restaurant in Magic Kingdom during Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration, and the feelings were not great, let me tell you. This alcoholic beverage was a michelada with a salted rim, garnished with a for real charred octopus tentacle and cucumber, but the tentacle kind of overshadowed the cucumber. The whole idea was inspired by 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is awesome considering the area where Be Our Guest currently sits was once the area near the old 20,000 Leagues attraction, eventually replaced by Under the Sea Voyage of the Little Mermaid. That being said, no, never again. 0 out of 10, Chewy Squid would not ever play that Squid game again. Oh my goodness, okay, let's not forget the True Blue cookie over at Joffrey's in Tomorrowland in Magic Kingdom, which is inspired by the new Tron Light Cycle run coaster, but looks more like mold and less like high-tech snacking. But surprise, surprise, looks can be deceiving because we actually really liked this one. It was very moist and blueberry forward. And then there's literally the whole line lineup of Halloween snacks that came out across Magic Kingdom this year for both Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and regular day guests, including options like that apple fritter milkshake that looked like it had a whole chicken nugget jutting out of the whipped cream, the almond cookie zombie fingers, the candy corn milkshake, which also looked like it had a chicken nugget coming out of it. Like, what is the deal? The really unsettling bucket of bone with the Coca-Cola cherry barbecue sauce, that skull brownie, which is actually very, very cool, I'm not gonna lie. And that's not even half of it. Now, Disney's been doing a whole lot more of these experimental snacks and flavors as of late, which is very cool. I am here for it, and even though I'm making fun of it right now. And it's probably for a few reasons that they're doing this. They get a lot of attention on social media. They're just as memorable as they are intriguing, for better or worse, and it helps them shake things up from just your typical funnel cake and turkey legs. You can get it pretty much every amusement or theme park. But as you can clearly see, not all weird snacks are automatically good snacks. Then again, some of the snacks you might find yourself afraid to try could also wind up being some of your favorites. That's why we've reviewed every single snack available all across the Disney World scene and written a series of DFB guides about them. The good, the bad, and the wonderfully weird. Check out our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining and Snacks bundle for all the details you need to plan your snacking and spending. You can even download them to your smartphone, so it'll be like we're right there with you in the parks. To purchase these books today, head over to dfbstore.com website and be sure to type in code YouTube to save some money on your new handy dandy ebooks. My little reminiscent heart absolutely loves this next point because making the old things new again makes going to Disney World both exciting and nostalgic all at the same time. And recently Disney's been going hard on the nostalgia. And I think the perfect example of what we're talking about here are the changes we're seeing take place in Epcot, because now Epcot is directly pulling from the past to reignite guests' excitement for the park again. Much like how a former favorite television show rises from the ashes to premiere a spin-off series or reunion episode. For instance, the original Soarin' over California, which was replaced by Soarin' Around the World back in 2016, has returned for a limited time for the Disney Company's 100-year anniversary celebration. Also, you can now meet and greet with Figment again over at the Imagination Pavilion, though Dreamfinder has not returned along with him, poor guy. And now Test Track is about to be reimagined and will take inspiration from Epcot's former World of Motion attraction, which of course is what Test Track originally took over. And let's not just give all the nostalgia credit to Epcot and Epcot alone, though. Even a lot of Disney's merchandise and character meet and greets have been very Renaissance focused. We see Loungeflies and pins and Spirit jerseys with Oliver and Company, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, even Rescue Rangers. And big selling points for Disney's After Hours events are the fact that you can meet 90s to early 2000s childhood favorites in real life, like Phineas and Ferb and Powerline Max, who will be part of the new Jollywood Nights at Hollywood Studios this year. Selling nostalgia isn't a new concept for Disney by any means, but it is an effective one. There's a reason, after all, why we see snacks from our childhood put back on the grocery store shelves, animated films re-release in theaters, and boy bands get back together for reunion tours. It's not for the kids, it's for the kids at heart and those wanting to remember simpler days before taxes, 9-to-5s, and bills, but who now have the money to pay for this stuff. Basically, it's an appeal to emotion, and it works. So we can't do an out-of-control video without mentioning Disney World prices at least once, because that's a yearly spiral that never feels like it's ever in control. Year after year, we see prices for park tickets, hotels, food, merchandise, and add-ons go up, many times even well past the point of inflation. At the beginning of this year, Disney CEO Bob Iger addressed these pricing concerns during the company's first quarter earnings call, admitting the fact that these pricing initiatives were becoming alienating to consumers. Iger further shared that he's always believed that accessibility is a core value of the Disney brand, but that Disney was not perceived to be as accessible or as affordable to many segments as they probably should be. Iger noted that the company as a whole had already started taking steps to correct the issue, stating that Disney would be using their ticket pricing strategy to make cheaper tickets available during substantially more days throughout the year. While Iger's comments were very hopeful and positive in regard to hearing and addressing guests' concerns about costs, it did directly contradict some other things that had already been done under Iger's reign in the short time he'd been back at the head of the company. Ticket price increases had already hit Disney World, and Disney Genie Plus had already hit its peak surge prices at $29 per person, but later on we'd see Genie Plus get even higher than that, maxing out at $35 per person.
Now let's fast forward to present day, where price spikes are still very much a thing that we're seeing pop up across all the Disney scene. Just recently we saw a massive wave of price increases impact almost every Disney World restaurant. Some of the most notable price increases occurred at character dining restaurants, including popular spots like Cinderella's Royal Table, which went from being $79 per adult for lunch and dinner, already expensive, to $84 per adult, even more expensive. Memory Maker Photo Pass prices also spiked up across all its different packages. So, for example, an advanced Memory Maker purchase that you can tack onto your trip before your vacation starts is now going to cost you $185 instead of $169 like it was before. Even parking at the theme parks had a bump up in price recently. Unless you're staying at a Disney-owned resort, you'll have to pay $30 per day to park at any of the theme parks instead of $25. Unless you're staying at a Disney-owned resort or you're an annual pass holder or get free parking for some other reason, you'll have to pay $30 per day to park at the theme parks instead of $25. And that's not even half of the price hikes we've seen lately. I'm talking literally hundreds of them just this past month, forcing costs to climb up in subtle but still noticeable ways.
All of that said, Disney has been adding more savings opportunities. Over on the special offers, deals, and discounts page via the Disney World website, we've been noticing more savings promotions, and not just for annual pass holders and DVC members, but for everybody during specific travel dates. This includes bringing back dining promo cards, which earns you a set amount of free money that you can use to dine around Disney property, hotel discounts, and even savings opportunities for water park visits. Resort parking has also been reinstated for all hotel guests, meaning no more paying $15 to $25 per night just to park your car at the hotel. And hopefully we'll see some more relaxing of the price increases, but that hasn't quite happened yet. Disney World's pricing is intimidating, but it doesn't have to keep you from taking that dream Disney vacation. Be sure to check out our Ways to Save $100 video, now live on our DFB channel. It's 50 different methods that you can use to shed those prices on your upcoming trip. Yeah, okay. Can we just take a moment to talk about the bear situation in Magic Kingdom again? Because that's gotta be one of the weirdest, most out of control stories we've ever had to cover. When Magic Kingdom opened on the morning of Monday, September 18th, multiple lands in the park didn't open with it. Actually, every single ride in Adventureland, Frontierland, and Liberty Square was listed as temporarily unavailable. So what was the holdup? Turns out it was a bear. Not a Pooh Bear, an actual living, breathing bear. I think she was auditioning for the new Country Bears Jamboree show coming in 2024. But we didn't talk personally. Now, biologists with the FWC's Bear Management Program and FWC law enforcement officers eventually captured the bear for relocation and released her safely back into the wild over in the Ocala National Forest in Marion County, which is about 90 minutes away from Disney World. While this is the end of this bear's reign, I do admire the fact that they got 3 Magic Kingdom lands all to themselves there for a bit without even buying a park ticket. Pretty impressive. Eventually, guests were allowed back into these areas of the park again, but this is just an important reminder for everyone out there to be flexible with your day-by-day plans. Even if you've got a very specific hour-by-hour itinerary you want to adhere to, you don't know what might happen that could shake up your entire day, whether it be bad weather, a sudden bout of illness, Disney Genie on the fritz, or even a black bear party crasher. Let's see, so we talked about money, nostalgia, snacks, construction, bears. Anything else I need to add? Oh yeah, don't forget to grab our free Disney World planning worksheets over at disneyfoodblog.com/disneyplans so you can get started on scheduling your future trip to the park. Now how's that for a sense of control? Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.